So let us solve this problem. The problem is Leetcode problem number 20, and the question is valid parenthesis. So we are given a string S and it can contain any of the brackets, that is round brackets, curly brackets, or square brackets, and we have to determine if these parentheses are valid or not. And the condition is every open bracket must be closed by the same kind of bracket, which means that round bracket must be closed, opening round bracket must be closed by closing round bracket, curly braces must be closed by curly braces, and angular brackets must be closed by angular brackets or square brackets. Um, and second is it must be closed in the correct order, which means that opening brace is open and square bracket must be closed in same order. So square bracket came over here, close the square bracket and close the uh, round bracket, right? uh, this should return true, whereas if you have this kind of input, this should return false, right? So this is the question. Now let us see the examples that they have given us. See this. For example number 1, close opening braces and then closing braces, return true. Then opening braces, closing braces, again open, open and close, again return true. Now let us look at the third example. Opening round bracket and closing square bracket. So this means that we don't have our closing round bracket. This means it is false. And same thing over here. Let us look at this example. In this we have opening curly braces, then opening square bracket, closing square bracket, and closing curly braces. So this is true. So one way to solve this problem is to use stack, where you can input your own opening braces. Like as soon as let's take this an example, right? uh, Curly braces and round bracket. So let's say you have one, you insert first braces in this one. If you find another opening braces, you insert it again. Then you find this particular bracket. If it is closing braces, then you check whether the recently pushed in bracket is uh, curly brace. If yes, you remove it, your pointer will point to over here, and then check for the closing braces. Again, you got this closing braces, there is an opening braces over here, you remove this and you return whether this stack is empty or not. At the end of the time, the stack must be empty. If it is not empty, which means that right brackets are not inserted. For example, let's say our input is something like this. Let me change the color. uh, let's say our input is like this, all the four opening brackets. So what we will have is, we'll have stack over here, your pointer is pointing over here. If it is opening braces, you add it again, you add it again, third time and fourth time. Now you don't have any closing bracket, so you are not going to pop anything out, right? So now what you can do is you can just return whether stack is empty or not. And over here stack is not empty, which means it will return false, because that is the correct answer. Okay, false, this one will be true. Okay, so let us look at the code over here and see how this will really work. So here is the basic algorithm. So if we find an opening bracket, then our job is to push it into the stack. Okay, if we find a closing bracket, then we check if the peak of stack is the corresponding opening bracket or not. If it is, then good, right? If it exists, then pop the element. Okay, and return if stack is empty or not. Now what if we don't find this element? If we don't find it, we can just from here say return false. Okay, now let me just show you how the code will look like, and we will use stack. This code will have few if else conditions, but we can reduce those conditions using HashMap, and we will take a look at it later. So let us write the code. So there are three methods that you need to understand for this thing. We will use java.util.stack class, and the three important methods are push an element, pop an element, and peek. Peek returns the topmost element. Okay, so now let us write the code. So public boolean is valid and we are given a string as an input. Okay, so now let us first write a base condition. If strings length is equal to 0 or string dot length mod 2 is not equal to 0, then you return false. Okay, return false. Okay, why would this be like that, right? uh, every opening braces must have a closing braces. Okay, so every opening braces must have a closing braces, which means that our input will always be of length 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 or something like that, which means that it should be of length of an even number, not an odd. If it is an odd number, then we know that one element will be always missing for a close for a, so opening braces or closing braces will be missing. Okay, so this is the condition that we can write just to avoid few additional computation. Now let us create a stack. Okay, and we will create a stack of type character. Okay, and the reason behind stack sorry the reason behind this is uh, we don't have a stack which accepts type char, so we can use character, which is the wrapper type of data type char. Okay, and let us create the stack and let us do something like this. For char ch s dot to char array. Okay, now we just converted this into character array and we'll use the uh, char type. So let us do this. If ch is equal to any opening braces, okay, all of three type, or ch is equal to curly braces, opening braces, then our job is stack dot push ch. That's it. This is how we can insert the data into the stack. Okay, now let's do other condition. Else if it is, this means that over here it is going to be closing bracket. So let's say if stack dot empty, then return false. Okay, so why did we wrote this condition? uh, what can happen is you can get input like this. Okay, what if your input is opening braces, closing braces, and another closing bracket? Okay, so you don't need to do, and you don't need to worry about this one, right? Because you know that at this time what will happen is you don't have any opening corresponding opening bracket. So in stack this would look like this. Okay, this is a stack. First you insert opening bracket, this one, then you encounter this closing bracket, so you will pop this thing out. Okay, and then you will, once you reach this closing bracket, it will execute this particular condition. If it is empty and you still have additional remaining stuff, then you return false. That's it, right? Now let us write the main logic for this one. Okay, uh, this would be else condition. Else, okay, now we know the stack is not empty. Okay, so else if current element is equal to closing round bracket and stack dot peak is equal to opening bracket. If this current element is closing and the peak was opening bracket, then we are good. Then what we can say is stack dot pop, remove the element out. This is good enough case for us. Okay, same thing, we can do the same thing for uh, square bracket and curly bracket. So let us write the code for that. Else if ch is equal to and n stack dot peak is equal to opening square bracket stack dot pop. Else if ch is equal to curly braces and stack dot peak is equal to opening braces then stack dot pop. So this will handle all the conditions, right? It is going to pop the element out. So we close this else over here, we will close this else over here. Okay, now just return whether stack is empty or not. This will contain our real answer. Okay, so now when would this be executed? When your input will have additional opening brackets. So something like this, you have opening braces 1, another opening braces, and one closing braces. So once we encounter this one, we will remove this particular element from stack and you will only have one opening braces. So stack dot is empty. Is stack empty? No, it has only one element right now, right? If it is empty, then we are sure that we will not if it is empty, then we are sure that these are the valid parentheses. Okay, so now let us look at the time and space complexity. Okay, so let me change the color, let me make it green. So let's take a look at this guy and space complexity for this one. The space complexity will be of n, where n is length of input string. Okay, and why is that? We are already removing the element, right? The reason behind that is that the problem can arise when you have like a lot of opening braces or only opening brackets. Okay, so let's say that input is like this, opening braces, all the opening brackets. Okay, no closing brackets. So we'll end up storing everything in this stack and we will return whether stack is empty or not. Okay, now and under best case scenario, if stack is not empty, which means that for every opening bracket there is one closing bracket. Okay, let's take a look at time complexity. Time complexity again will be of n. Okay, where n is length of an input string, because we are considering every character from start to end. Okay, let us write the code in Leetcode and we will take a look at this code and we will use HashMap to reduce this all these three conditions into one condition. All right,
Let's get started. Let us write our code to validate whether the given set of parentheses are valid or not. So let us start with the base condition. So we wrote the base condition where s dot length is equal to 0 or s dot length mod 2 is not equal to 0, then we return false. Uh, let's see, stack of character, let's name our variable as stack and we will return whether stack is empty or not. Let us write the main code for this one. Let us use the for each loop s dot to char array, and let's say that if this ch is equal to any of the opening brackets, then we will just push them. onto the stack. Yeah, and then we will say stack dot push ch. Okay, over here it does auto boxing and everything, but let us not worry about that. If the stack is, if we don't encounter any opening brackets, then we may have encountered something else. So let us first just check whether stack is empty or not. If stack is empty right now, which means that we have got string like this, uh, something like this would have removed the elements from stack, whether, and this one would have come right now. So if it is empty right now, then we can just say that from here return false. Now let us write other conditions, right? If stack is not empty, then we will say that this ch is equal to opening closing curly braces. Then we will say and stack dot peak uh, is equal to opening bracket, right? Then we say stack dot pop, right? Else if ch is equal to square bracket and stack dot peak is equal to closing square bracket, then stack dot pop. Good thing for us, right? And one more will be for round bracket. Okay, stack dot pop. So we wrote all these conditions, right? Let us check whether this will work or not, right? So let me submit this thing, and this failed, right? Output is true, but it should have given us false. The reason behind that is we are popping the elements only and only when these two conditions are true, else we are not popping the elements. So we have to write one more condition over here, and it will be like this: else return false. Why? Because if this value is misplaced, like let's see, opening this opening bracket come in the first one, right? Round bracket, then square bracket, and then curly closing braces come into the picture. So we will be popping that element only if we find the opening curly braces, else we won't. So if we found a use case like that, then we will have to return false. So this was something that was missing in the notes, but I've corrected that mistake over here, right? So let us run it one more time, submit. Okay, so this worked. Now this is good solution, right? But there is one issue with it, is that there are too many if conditions over here, right? If, else, if, else, if, else, if, things like that. So how can we make this thing better? So let us take this code first, okay, and save it over here. Let me just comment it out, okay, and let me remove this code again, and let me create a hash map, right? So let's say we have a map called a static final map of let's say character and let's say map equal to uh, static map equal to new hash map dot put. We will add all all the combinations that are given to us. So if closing bracket, for every closing bracket there should be one opening bracket. Okay, this is for closing bracket round bracket, this is for curly bracket, and this will be for square bracket. All right, that's it. So now let us write the code for this one. So again we can use this statement as well as this one, as well as this one. Let us use, okay, let us not use this one for now. Let's say that if map dot contains key for this ch, which means that closing bracket was discovered. Okay, and corresponding opening bracket. Okay, how to do this? Let me remove this statement from here, put over here, better. So if this happens, then if you get a closing braces, then you have to do something else. You can just say map sorry stack dot push ch, map dot contains key ch, then we have to do something, and that can be something like this: if stack dot is empty, okay, then we can, I will explain that thing later. Now let us say stack dot peak is not equal to map dot get ch, then return false, else stack dot pop. Let me just put it like this so it's easier to understand. So if stack is empty, so this condition will be invoked, this particular condition will be invoked over here. Or peak is not equal to match dot get ch. If it is not equal, then immediately return false. Okay, so this condition will be executed, then return false, else stack dot pop. So all these three conditions will be handled over here, right? Else we just have to push it over here, right? Now let us see whether this will work or not. Return stack dot is empty. Okay, so this is also working. So HashMap has made the solution a little better, so we can remove a lot of if else condition. um, Thank you very much. That's all for this one.